Hello, and welcome to another Rocket Blocks devlog. It's been a really long time since I've done one of these, and I figured it's time to do one because there have been developments and changes and whatnot, and this is as good as any way as any to let people know about them. So first thing, very first thing is the Rocket Blocks Android Alpha is live and ongoing. I actually started that in the beginning of October, and there's not a whole bunch of people in it, but if you want to join, there will be a link in the description of this video to join the Rocket Blocks Early Access Google Plus community, and you can opt into the alpha there. So if you've got an Android device and you want to play Rocket Blocks, just please join and tell me what you like and don't like about it, because I need feedback, input. Okay, other things, the changes that came due to the to some of the feedback from the alpha is okay. Like, I believe I've already discussed backgrounds in here. Change some of the flow to get into the game. So you go to time attack. Ignore the font sizes here because I've got the font sizes they scale dynamically based on screen size and doesn't really work properly in the editor. But so goes to the gravity selector straight from clicking time attack instead of having that hidden in options. Google Play Games still works. Talked about that in the past. I'm going to go up to high gravity in Jupiter. Okay, added a timer up here, as you can see, for time attack mode. And the blocks are now not just default cubes, they all have different colors, different shapes based on which color they are, which is a whole thing to make it easier for people with color blindness. The other big change, there was a thing that I wanted to do with the block shapes that I couldn't make it do without, because I've been having a lot of trouble optimizing draw calls for this. Sorry, my throat is really gummed up for the past week. But yeah, I wanted to actually have it so that when they launched that there was a more gradual sort of morph into the cube shape, but that would have completely destroyed my draw calls, because draw calls are really important and kind of difficult to get completely right in Unity. So now, yeah, they are now less blocks than they are gems, but they turn into blocks when they turn into rockets, so Rocket Blocks is still an apropos name. Alright, and then I have to play for a bit to get the next new thing that I added, so bear with me. I'll probably just time lapse through this to get to one of them to drop. Playing like a dumb person. Yeah, still only using really the placeholder sounds, which I should fix. I'm planning on fixing at some point. I also need to get one bit of useful feedback from one person who was otherwise not very useful feedback, that I need to set up some sort of tutorial, so at the start of the game it'll have something like, not enough blocks, press the force blocks button, and then once there are blocks on the screen, click and drag on the blocks to make match 3, and then have that vanish as soon as somebody actually moves the block. Still is the most difficult gravity. Ah, damn it. Okay, well, the fuel block there dropped, so I'm gonna do a quick cheat to actually demonstrate how the fuel block works. So, turn that, restart the game, but not maximized. I had to set it so that the fuel block there wouldn't be a bunch of them spawning right away, because that would suck. And that forces some more. So they don't spawn until the object pool repopulates itself. Which, if you don't manage to survive long enough for that to happen, okay. So I added this fuel block. Let's maximize you from here. Okay, this guy. The fuel block here. So, the way he works I actually talked about this in an earlier DevLog, that I wanted to do the fuel block and the space whale. I haven't done the space whale yet, and initially thought the fuel block would be harder to do, and in many ways it is. Let's pause it again. Because there is an issue with, well, I'll just show it. So, attach the fuel block, reignites all the black blocks that are attached, and then, as you see, it just kind of burned out and they all vanished. Because what happens is, the fiction for it is that it's unstable fuel, so it refuels the blocks, and then after 3 seconds, if they don't get out, they get destroyed. Because I couldn't figure out a way to make it so that blocks could be refueled more than once. Because the way the script works is that the fuel block checks to see, on all sides of it, to see if there's any blocks that are, burnt out. Yuck. Sorry. That are burnt out and don't have the script on it. And then it adds any of those that it sees, it adds to an array, and then it goes through that array and it attaches that same script that does that check to those blocks. So those blocks then check every block on either side of them that don't have the script, and then add the script. And so it just it chains across, like you saw the way it sort of went across when it just ran just then. And then, but the issue was that I was having, and that I'm still technically having, was that if I had it so that then it would attach the script and then run the thing where it would find all the things, then attach the script to everything, and then destroy that script so that it would still be able to go. Then the last block in the chain, when it came time for it to run, because it does it on a frame-by-frame basis, so first block does that on that frame, then the next blocks do it on the next frame, then the next blocks do it on the next frame. So when it came time for the last block in the chain, if the blocks next to it had destroyed their script, then the last block would add that script back onto them, so it would get this sort of ping-pong back and forth across the chain. And I couldn't figure out the logic to make that not happen in a way that would keep the script working, because I could do it. The one thing that I thought of was that I could because anything that disables the script keeps it from running, and if I do a check to see if the script is disabled and then re-enable it, then it does the same thing. And then, so it was just this ongoing frustration that I couldn't figure out how to fix. But yeah, so you can see that it sort of starts right there, and then boom. Yeah, so yeah, that's the point of it, is that you can... So what I ended up having to do is make it so that they just destroyed themselves after they burned out a second time. So my feeling of it is that it creates this sort of tactical consideration, like, do you want to have them all attached, get like a whole bunch of black blocks and add the fuel tank to them and get a whole bunch of points out of them, or run the risk that you'll have a whole bunch of black blocks and you'll attach it and they'll just destroy themselves and you won't get any points, but you'll also clear a significant section of your board. So that's the thinking there. Other changes, are there other changes? Oh yeah, I totally forgot to... So I added this. I felt that I wasn't communicating very well where the warning zone and the game over zone is, so I added this sort of gradient at the top of the screen, and that actually works by... Let's maximize you. Back to my main scene. Okay, so it's got this... That's just another plane with that gradient texture with the alpha gradient and everything, and that's just sitting right there above the regular background. So that way I can swap out the background image without having to, and retain this gradient without having to worry about, having to add the gradient to the top of every background that I do. I still haven't thought of a good texture for this, but, and then I want to rescale the camera slightly so that this is proper, but I haven't bothered to do that yet. But anyway, is there anything else at all? No, I don't think so. I mean, as forgot it. It's in the alpha test for the Google Play Store, so please, if you are interested in playing and want to give me feedback and tell me that it sucks or tell me that you like it, join the Rocket Blocks alpha community. I'm getting tempted to just kick this thing out the door, but I do have to... I've got the game services set up, and then I still have to get the achievement images before it'll let me publish it. And I put these achievements in, but I can't actually hook them up properly because I want to do achievements based on leaderboard placement. But the plugin for Unity for the Google Play games doesn't let me. You can't retrieve scores from a leaderboard to either display them in game or to do other stuff with the Google Play game with the Unity plugin. I mean, with the regular Google Play Games SDK you can, but I don't know how to use the Google Play Games SDK to grab information out of a Java thing and then send that to hook that up into Unity to get that information, which is really annoying because I'd also really like to be able to just use the strings XMLs from the Android SDK resources to do my credits and stuff. Which, that's the other thing. Credits, it's not much, but I did find a way to do the credits that I think is kind of okay. So you do options, credits, and then, ta-da, they scroll up the screen. Looking at games is me. That's me, David Lejeune. And that's basically it. And then, my music licensing, which I might have to change to get a different font for the credits because this font doesn't have tildes or colons really, and so that URL isn't quite right. But yeah, so that's everything. Thank you for watching this devlog. Thank you for joining the alpha if you do. Otherwise, hopefully by the end of the year, that's my plan right now, is that the end of the year I'm just going to have enough of it done that I feel comfortable actually pushing it out to public and letting everybody and anyone and everyone play it, and hopefully getting some ad revenue out of that, because right now I'm not getting much in the way of ad revenue because there's only 9 people, well, I think 10 people, but 9 installs in the alpha, so ad views aren't blowing up or anything. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day and good night.